And welcome back to Fox 2 News in the morning. It has been a long night here. We have been here on the air at Fox 2 since about, what, 2 a.m. or so,
Since about
Tom?
2 o'clock, yeah, trying to cover things as they developed out there. And all of our reporters have been out there. Andy Banker, Elliot Davis, George Sells, Kim Hudson. I mean, we've got it covered out there because it's been a long night.
Yeah, and actually, let me just give you guys a recap of what we know so far. At around midnight or so, about 5 to 6 businesses were looted over in Ferguson. One of those businesses in particular, as you can see there, the Ferguson Market and Liquor Store. That is a location where Ferguson police had released some surveillance video of who they say Mike Brown was in that store minutes before he was shot by the Ferguson police officer. People were angered by the fact that that video was released along with the name of the officer involved in the shooting, and that had tensions brewing all throughout the day. There were some peaceful protests earlier in the day, and then as night fell, people became more steamed, and then that resulted in that looting. At the same time, we also had one person shot, and there were a couple of buildings set on fire as well. And this, I think for me, the most striking thing was to see some of those business owners show up to defend their businesses, and some of them had weapons. You could clearly see that they did not want to let anyone inside of those businesses. And also another interesting fact about what was going on is that some of the witnesses, the peaceful protesters, were saying that there were people there from the community who were peaceful and were trying to stop those looters from getting in. And since the police presence was somewhat of a factor here, they were pretty much policing themselves and trying to stop some of this violence. But it was really something to see people go in and out of those stores with bags filled with cash registers, bags filled with liquor. They were taking hair from the beauty supply shop. Well, civil rights activist Jesse Jackson is urging people in Ferguson, Missouri to channel their anger into something more productive. This came just hours after police released the name of the officer who shot and killed Michael Brown, and surveillance video of Brown and a friend. They say that video shows Brown stealing from a convenience store. That's the Ferguson Market that was targeted overnight. Jackson also says the police department has done a poor job with the investigation.
This situation has been handled very badly. Number one, it took 7 days to release the name of the police. Then with that came discrediting information about Michael. It had nothing to do with his getting shot multiple times in his own neighborhood. So that is going to be an emotional point, I think, when they release how many times he was shot, where he was shot. But people here must turn their pain into power. And you reshape an iron while it's hot, but you must not burn yourself with your own iron.
Ferguson Police Chief Thomas Jackson says he released the store videotape because the press asked for it, which is something we typically do when there is a robbery, but I think people do have an issue with the timing of the video. Thanks, Sandy. So again, there were at least 5 to 6 stores and maybe even more looted overnight. There was a fire at a Domino's. There was also one person shot. St. Louis County Police did not say where the person was taken, but they were taken to a local hospital, so we don't have any word on their condition. And welcome back to Fox 2 News in the morning. It is 8:18 a.m. and we are continuing our coverage on the crisis in Ferguson. It has been a long night. We've been on the air since 2 a.m. this morning, bringing you updates on all the looting, and there was also a shooting and fires that were happening down in Ferguson. Another thing that I noticed too was when Andy was interviewing the lady at the beauty supply shop, she was saying that it was thought that there was someone staking out the business, so at some point waiting for the next opportunity so they could go in and do these things. So we're going to go ahead and check in with Kim Hudson. She is live at the Highway Patrol Command Post. Kim, what can you tell us? You have some new developments there?
Good morning. If you're just joining us, it's been another long night in Ferguson. We've had looting going on, 5 to 6 businesses looted. We've had a report of one person shot. Don't have any more information on that. But it's been a long night. In fact, we've even seen store owners without a police presence coming in, armed themselves to guard their businesses. So it's been an interesting night. Yeah, it was very striking to see those owners out there doing that. There are people in the middle of the road doing donuts in their cars, people trying to, peaceful protesters trying to get a handle on the looters as well, trying to stop them from going inside of those stores. And one of the stores in particular that people were really targeting was the Ferguson Market, which was the location where Ferguson police released some surveillance video where they say Mike Brown had committed a strong-armed robbery prior to being shot. Now that stirred up some emotions from folks. It was simmering all day long. After that video came out, people became very frustrated. And by the end of the night, after those peaceful protests at about midnight or so, that's when things really started to kick up.
and police were called in, but there has been an interesting dynamic when it came to the police presence there. We'll have some answers from the Highway Patrol as to why the whole stand-down situation happened with St. Louis County Police and Ferguson Police. So we'll be checking into that in a little bit. But we're going to head over to George Sells to get an update on where he is this morning. George.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, George.
And another really important thing I heard Ty Pruitt say was that he said he would like to be home with his family, grieving for his baby cousin, but he's spending his time helping business owners recover from this, all of this overnight looting. He called it ignorance, and you know, people, it's just how he felt. Looting there overnight, as well as one person shot, some 5 to 6 stores hit by looters as well. People are asking the question, why was law enforcement there? And then they left, so we're trying to get those answers.
Yeah, at least things have quieted down a little bit at you, and it's raining out in the place where we've been covering all night.
Yes, our Kim Hudson is live at the command post where the Highway Patrol has been set up along with a lot of media and others. Kim, what can you tell us right now?
Fox 2 Shawndrea Thomas was there for Sharpton's police. Shawndrea.
Sandy, the crowd here at Greater St. Mark's Church is starting to thin out, but there were a lot of people here, hundreds, I would say well over 1,000 people showed up here throughout the night. Now, hundreds of youngsters came into the church chanting with their hands up. They're saying, hands up, don't shoot. It was one of the most powerful moments I saw here tonight. As the event started, pastors came out and said that police were blocking off streets for visitors, but that didn't make a difference because that church was packed with a lot of people inside. We had national and local leaders asking for calm, but they also want to make sure their voices are heard. Take a listen.
You got issues in this city, and the reason folk are outraged is when you keep pressing people down, anything will make them open up their mouth.
So again, out here in front of the Greater St. Mark's Church, there are still a lot of people out here, hundreds of people, but the crowd is starting to thin out. We'll keep an eye on the situation and bring you the very latest on Fox 2 News at 4 a.m. Back to you, Sandy.
Fox 2 Shawndrea Thomas has been in the middle of the demonstrations. She continues our team coverage right now. Shawndrea.
I'm here at West Florissant and Chambers. It's pretty calm right now, as you can see, but there is a lot of police activity about a mile down the road. You can actually see there's still some haze from the tear gas that was put out when there were people out in that area. Now, police have been blocking off roads for hours now and moving protesters. We got a whiff of that tear gas as we got closer to the action and we decided to move on. This all started at around 4:30 with a protest that started right here at West Florissant and Chambers. Earlier today, about 200 people took that 2-mile trek that ended with several people having a sit-in. More showed up later on, and as a result, those crowds are being forced out of the area by police, and police are not wasting time with this.
Shawndrea Thomas has been in the middle of this all night long. Shawndrea, you guys were actually asked to move during the deployment of all the tear gas. Tell me where you are now and what's happening right now.
Oh, right now I'm here at the corner of West Florissant and Chambers. And actually what's happening now is that police were not here earlier. There was no police presence really at this intersection. And now the southbound lanes of West Florissant are blocked off by about 4 St. Louis County police cars. They're not allowing any vehicles to head towards where that burned out Quick Trip is. At this point, there's also some tactical squad people kind of walking around over in that area. But for the most part, you can also see there's still the hint of that tear gas out there in the air. That's why I'm actually sitting inside of our news car right now, because it's still pretty strong and thick out here. There are a couple of people just kind of hanging out, maybe 5 or 6 people on the corner, just observing and seeing what the police are doing, as well as the police officers, law enforcement on the other side of the street. But traffic, for the most part, is flowing through on Chambers. But, I mean, we haven't really seen anything out of the ordinary as far as really huge crowds or anything like that, but some really small, oh, okay, it looks like there's some, law enforcement just came over into our parking lot as well. So we'll see if they'll make us move from here. But right now, it looks like things are pretty calm. But again, they do have this area blocked off, and it looks like, from what I can see, they have it under control. So we'll be sure to keep an eye out here and see. I'm going to go ahead and take a step out of the car and see what the police are asking us to do out here. But at this point, we're still stable here, and there's not really a lot happening as far as unrest at this point in time.
Shawndrea, we'll let you check on that. Thank you.
Ferguson protesters hit the streets of Clayton to make their voices heard, and I was there as they marched and vowed to keep going.
What we're trying to figure out is why in the world is Officer Darren Wilson still a free man?
The rally started with a chant.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
And picked up steam.
Arrest him!
Local leaders and the parents of Michael Brown marched with nearly 200 people as they made their voices heard at the Buzz Westfall Justice Center and the streets of Clayton. The demands were clear.
Arrest him now! Arrest him now!
It is proven year in and year out that black people are disproportionately stopped here in the streets of St. Louis County, as well as across the state of Missouri. Nothing has been done.
I can't arrest him!
The group led by the Ferguson National Action Network want police officer Darren Wilson arrested. Wilson shot and killed 18-year-old Michael Brown during an encounter on a Ferguson street last month. They also want answers and prosecutor Bob McCullough off the case.
So if we don't keep this about him being arrested, we want them to be focused. We're in front of the Justice Center because we want some justice. We want them to understand until we can have some of it, and you're going to treat us right, we're going to shut it down.
No justice, no peace!
The group spent more than an hour marching in unison,
Without that justice, there should be no peace.
at times pausing for reflection.
We don't know where Darren Wilson is right now, but we do know where he should be.
Protesters say it's been more than a month since the death of Michael Brown, and they say the protests like these won't stop.
We're not turning down the heat for nobody.
As the Saturday march ended peacefully in prayer,
Love ya.
plans are in motion for another round of protest. The next stop, the St. Louis County Council meeting on Tuesday night.
But anybody of goodwill who want to see justice, we welcome.